Finally a bit sunny here. I mean, today it's overcast and gonna rain soon, but it's technically spring here in Glasgow. Hi, welcome back. I thought I could just do some spring readings if you are into that, you know. So the first little subcategory I'm thinking was just doing some little short stories. So we have The Strange Undoing of Prudencia Hart. We did this in Scottish Lit, but it's such like a enjoyable little like unique play. It's written out. Even if you don't know all the different forms, it's in much about Scottish Lit that it's like referencing. It's still a bunch of fun, and it has little subnotes, and it's Ben's time and whatnot, and there's like a devil character. It's just a lot of fun. You can find videos of people doing it online and stuff, so highly recommend if you just want like a little break because it's very short. Next one is The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, again from Scottish Lit, but it's just a little enjoyable book, and she's one of the first Scottish authors to really get like international fame. So a lot of the other authors in like Scottish Lit really hate her for some reason. Enjoyable book. People also recommend The Driver's Seat, which I want to get into sometime. The next book is what we talk about. We talk about love. So it's just a little short story collection. American author. You get a lot of different scenery, I believe, from the northwest of the US and stuff, but it's just a little quick, enjoyable, again, really tiny, and if you want to read a short story here and there, you can. So you're not like, I have so much to do and now read a thick book on top of it. And then my next subcategory for spring reads is sort of like love, but like not the very traditional like happy-go-lucky like perfect love. First one is The Course of Love. It is a look at a modern relationship throughout the different stages. I wouldn't necessarily take everything that he says as this is correct and this works for everyone, but it is an interesting and more honest take at like the intricacies and not just the honeymoon phase or getting together. I liked it. Some people don't really like his like opinions and stuff or the writing style. The next is one of my favorites. Every time I read it, I cry. Even at the movie, I know what's happening, and yet it always gets to me. It's Call Me By Your Name. Sure, if you know about it, you've probably read it already, but it really takes you back to summer. So when you're in the weird spring phase of not enough sunlight, it really like gets you in the mood for summer. But I didn't really read it in the summer. I normally read it like fall or winter, just because the last bit always like it feels more of non-summer book because Elio talks and like as he's telling you the story, so it's in the past tense and stuff. Gets you in the summer mindset because it's set in Italy in the 80s, so it's really fun. It's just very enjoyable, and it like gets you. So if you're gonna read it, be ready to cry. Even me with my little Grinch heart, I still cry with it. And I talked about this book in my last video, but it's Open Water. I feel like this is nice because it's, again, shorter. It's still very enjoyable. And again, it's a different look at what life is like in the UK and stuff. So like, she's slipping. Okay, where was I? Yeah, so Open Water, again, it's a very nice book. It's not just about the relationship, and it's not just about like what it's like to be living in Britain as like a black person and everything. It wonderfully like weaves it all in, and there's just different lines that like stick with me if you want like a new like style and new like just book, because it came out like last month. So I would highly recommend this book. If you want a bit of fantasy, you can do Imajica, which I talked about last time, but if you want like a bit of a challenge or like escape, this would be a wonderful book. If you want more detail, you can go to the other video. But I really like it. There's something in here for everyone. There's so much commentary on everything from like God to like relationships to like different worlds and magic. And then if you want to do a bit more of nonfiction reading, one of my road trips to a national park, I got the blue tattoo. I think it was in Waldrug. So if you're ever in Waldrug, go to the bookstore. Love that place. But this is about Olive Oatman, who was traveling west with her family down in the southwest to get to California or something, and her little caravan was attacked by some Native Americans there, which they commonly did, and then she was the only survivor. They took her back. She lived with that tribe for a year, forget the name, and then she eventually lived longer term with the Mojave Indians, and that's where she got her like distinctive tattoo. But then like eventually she was rescued, and like she got like back with her family and stuff. But it goes over her account of like her time with the different Indians and like that day when all of her family was killed and stuff, and just like the rest of her life. Some of the attitudes I didn't like, but it's also the 1800s and everything. I don't think she's making it up, but I wouldn't be surprised if her brother was trying to like really push the different aspects of her being a bit more like savage and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed it, and she definitely wasn't really coming at it of a thing of like, oh, these people are horrible or uneducated just because they're different. But that is the common attitude of the people of the time. If you really like this book or want a different insight of what it's like to live in the American tribe, but specifically as a woman, I recommend The Daughters of the Earth. I read that over the summer, and it just goes over what it's like to live in different tribes across America and Canada, between birth, like puberty, marriage, motherhood, and death, and everything in between in these different tribes. They don't generalize, but they'll give a few examples of the tribes in the area, but it gives you a good insight into how these tribes operated, what their different views on stuff and whatnot. And it helps to homogenize the idea of that every Native American person has the same traditions, same like thoughts, same opinions and whatnot. And then with Spring, if you want to have, again, more an easy read, but like still get into stuff, you could do a poetry anthology. I think I want to try to get into Bukowski. I know he's just a white dude, so that's a thing, and you get a lot in his poetry and stuff. But again, these are really easy to read. You can stop anytime, you can read as fast or as slow as you want. So I talked about a couple others in my other video, but these are very nice because if you just want like an easy read, you can explore poetry in a more easy way with different anthologies or ones that are like different collections of different authors and styles. So that's very nice. And then for me personally, I want to try to read a couple books this spring. Don't know if I'll get to them, but here's just stuff that I feel like if I read them soon, it would fit, even though I should be studying for finals soon.
That's never gonna happen.
That's my roommate. But so I guess the intention's there. We'll see if we actually read these books or study. So the first one is a story for bewildered girls. I saw this at Waterstones and I was like, let's just get it. And it's about like two girls, and some of them are into guys, some of them into girls, and it's just like them trying to navigate relationships and what it's like to try to like date in like the real world. So I'm really excited for this book. I really don't know what to expect, but it could be really fun and just exciting, and we love anything that's a bit more queer. The next book is The Glasgow Effect. We went over this a little bit in Psych, but I want to actually dig into like all the little bits about it, because like since I live in Glasgow now, I want to like know more about it, like the history and like the landmarks, but also like the bad parts about it. Because in Psych we talked how there's this bus route you can take, and every stop, the living conditions and life expectancy and just health of the people there get worse and worse the further you go from the city center. I want to like know what it's actually like to live in places, so I'm not just like the ignorant American that's like going everywhere. So I just want to like try to get a better picture of what the government's doing and like how life actually is for people, and who's not just like in school, you know, because we're all very privileged to be at a university and to be educated and whatnot. Even if you're at like a bad school, you still have further education that a lot of people don't get. So I just want to get like a better picture of like what life is like, because there's a lot of people in the same city that can be like uber wealthy, but also live 10 minutes from people who are barely making ends meet. And then my last book is sort of the like, if we get to it, like if Outside the Gates of Eden. She's really thick, but we love her, we're not scared of her. But it's sort of just like this whole idea of like, if people get swept up in the whole counterculture of the 60s in America, from like Woodstock to Summer of Love in San Francisco and all this stuff, like what will their lives be like going after that? So I'm really excited for this. I saw it a couple times in Waterstones. I didn't get it. I was just like, nah, we have enough books at home. We don't need to spend the money. And I was just like, it's just calling towards me. I mean, look at the cover. Look at the cover. It's a fabulous book, and I love the concept, so I'm really excited to dive into it, because it has different like main characters, like 3 or something, and it just seems like a very interesting book because I love the whole counterculture, like the different ideas what they stood for. I know nothing's perfect, but this will just explore that more. So I'm very excited just to try to get into that.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Alright, okay.
Come join me.
With my fat ass. Alright, let me have a look at this pile. This one. This one. And this one. Okay, Caitlin reviews. This one, and this one seem most interesting to me. So maybe I'm gonna borrow these off you.
Yeah.
After exams.
Because we are gonna study. We are gonna study.
Speak for yourself.
We'll try to make her study. So, any last words?
Any last words? Yeah. Just
Subscribe,
like,
share.
notification. Yeah, and turn the little bell on.
Yeah, if you have any books you like to read during the springtime or you think would fit the spring, whether it's this overcast spring here in the UK or the sunny California spring back home, link them down. So,
sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Hope you have a good day.
Bye.
Italy in the 80s. They looked at me.